There are some conflicting reports about cell service in Boston. Earlier, the Associated Press reported cell service in Boston was shut down to stop remote detonations, but cell phone companies, including Verizon, are saying that's not the case. In a statement, Verizon says Verizon Wireless has been enhancing network voice capacity to enable additional calling in the Copley Square area of Boston. Customers are advised to use text or email to free up voice capacity for public safety officials at the scene. Verizon also says it has seen elevated calling and data usage throughout the region since the explosions occurred. Now, to help us better understand what exactly is going on here, I want to bring in Richard Falkenrath, a principal at the Chertoff Group, a former White House Homeland Security advisor and former NYPD deputy commissioner. He joins us now from New York. Richard, I asked people on Twitter, if you're in Boston, can you use your cell phone? And everybody is saying they can. What exactly is going on here?
I think it's incorrect information that was reported, which is very common in incidents of this kind. The second thing that happens is cellular networks are often disrupted by large events and when there's a lot of call volume. And so since the police commissioner of the city of Boston did not announce the shutdown of the cellular system, and since Verizon is now denying it, it stands to reason that it was an incorrect piece of information that was reported. And that, frankly, is extremely common in any sort of major incident.
When something like this happens, does law enforcement have the capability and the authority to shut down a cell phone network?
So the Federal Communications Commission does, in fact, have that authority. To the best of my knowledge, it's never been exercised. I may be wrong about that. I was trying to recollect on the earlier show. There are also some special capabilities to deal with in close, very high-risk situations, but those would not be present at the Boston Marathon.
So if indeed the network is not shut down, should we be concerned, given the sophistication of the events of today, should we be concerned about remote detonations?
Well, I think so. The bomb techs who are looking at these devices by now will have a general sense of how they were detonated. And if they did, in fact, see the residue of a cell phone or some other remote detonation capability, that information would be conveyed up to everyone, the police commissioner, the president, the FBI director. And in that circumstance, it's conceivable that the federal government would order the cellular networks to shut down. But frankly, that is a very extreme scenario. And as when it was first reported an hour ago, I reacted with some surprise because I had never seen something like that before. And I expected it was, if accurate, because of a particular piece of intelligence or information about the weapon. That appears not to be the case.
All right. Now, Richard, I want to ask you just about the way the events of today unfolded. It spread on Twitter. Vine video, was used to send out images of this event. You've been doing this kind of work since before 9/11. Have you seen anything quite like this? I'm sure it's progressed over the years, but given the way that information was disseminated today via social networks, the Boston Police, the Boston Globe, using Twitter to put out live updates, how would you characterize that?
It's how things are done these days. 10 years ago, or 12 years ago almost, on 9/11, it was not, the social media had not taken over, and so it was conveyed and reported in more conventional ways. These days, this is just routine. So for every major disturbance, major event, these days, there's always a social media element where the people present with ubiquitous cellular networks and smartphones and multiple different apps are able to report on it in a way that traditional media can't.